the Jerome Powell story, the federal, the name that was announced this morning at 6 a.m.-ish, give or take. President Trump, Kalshi, $96 million of wagers were made on Kalshi on who's going to be the next Fed chair. Look at the volume on the bottom left, $97 million. Rob, how far back can you go on this? Is this all? So if you go to all, go a little bit lower, Rob, so we can see the names. It's been Kevin Warsh for quite a while. But if you can go a little bit higher, who's the second one? Who's the blue and who's the black? Who's blue, Rob?
Judy Shelton is in at 1.8%, and Rick Ryder.
Rick Ryder was also one that was on the list. And look at it, just a few days ago. Is Black Rick Ryder?
Yes.
Pretty bad name, but so eventually ends up being Kevin Warsh as the guy. Tom, how do you feel about this announcement, this decision?
So here's what's been going on. The president has been at verbal, debate, battle, war, whatever odds with Jerome Powell since before he won the election, talking about interest rates and talking about things like this. And everyone thought that Kevin Hassett, who is serving in the White House, was going to be the guy. And so he was up there first. And then all of a sudden, many people, including me, think Kevin Hassett maybe sounded a little too measured in public, because Trump clearly wants somebody to run the Fed that aligns with him and Scott Bessent on interest rates, specifically with the president. And so Kevin Warsh's name came up. And then Kevin Warsh was like the leading candidate for a while. And then over the last 3 weeks, there was a little bit of shift that happened. Rick Ryder's name came up at the same time the president said, I think Kevin Hassett should stay in the White House. He's doing a fine job. Instantly, everybody says, okay, well, that's it. Hassett is absolutely off the list, because the president complimented him and said, I want him to stay in the White House. But then the president said positive things about Rick Ryder. And then some leaks came out from the administration, from the cabinet, that said the president is very, encouraged by recent interview he had with Rick Ryder. So people were thinking that's it. Well, the president now has a two-horse race. He's got Rick Ryder, who wants the job, and Warsh, who wants the job. Well, guess what happened? I think what happened is he had a conversation with the two of them about policy alignment, and I think Warsh was more aligned with the president, so the president felt that he would be following him more and pick Warsh. Historically, the head of the Fed has usually been someone that even the most partisan presidents have felt needs to be balanced, can't be quick turning knobs at the Fed. And what has happened here, I think Warsh is going to be more likely to give us a 0.5 point cut before June. No cuts were going to happen here in January at the Fed meeting. There's a 0% chance of that, according to Kalshi and others that are speaking. And Kevin Warsh is going to be our new head of the Fed and is probably going to give us 0.25 point cuts in 2 of the next 4 Fed meetings going through June. And that's
Tom, why are some people saying they're surprised by this? Because this guy's known for wanting to raise the rates or keeping it consistent. He's not really known for being a guy that was going to lower the rates.
Well, I think what has happened is in the last 2 interviews, remember, President had interviews, and in the last 2 interviews, something happened. And the president, in all of his discussions on Powell, has wanted the Fed to follow him, even though that they're looking at unemployment, inflation, and all these other things. The president's been speaking since before he was reelected for that. And so I think what has happened here is Warsh, even though he's had his historical quantitative stances, and I call what you just said, Pat, is very accurate, but those have been quantitative stances. This plus this plus this means it's too salty, so I'm going to add more water to reduce the saltiness of the soup. That's a technical answer. And I think he met with the president, and the president's like, I want to do this for the American people. I want to do this with Fannie and Freddie. I want to do this for our economic policy. Can I count on you? I think that's what happened.
Vinny, what's your technical analysis on this?
Go ahead, Vin.
I concur with everything that Tom just said.
Adam, where are you at with this?
I'll just summarize this real quick. I won't go long. Jerome Powell, thank you for playing. You've been here for 8 years, I believe. Appointed by Trump, renominated by Biden. I believe the last day of his term is going to be February 4th, my birthday. Shout out for you. Here's 2 things I guarantee you happened. He met with Scott Bessent, who's the Treasury Secretary. He said, are you guys aligned? We're going to do this. Last but not least, I'm Donald Trump. I'm the president. I'm going to nominate you. We're going to be cutting interest rates real quick. Aren't we, sir? Yes, sir. Okay, boom. You have the job. Boom. Done. That's what's going to happen.
That didn't work last time. So did Jerome Powell end up listening to him? Jerome Powell did what Jerome Powell's going to. This is not a job where they listen to him.
The difference
this isn't a.
The difference is Trump didn't know. So his words exactly, didn't know what the hell he was doing last time. Admitted by Eric Trump and by Don Jr. Trump knows exactly what he's doing at this point.
Okay.
And I think Scott Bessent knows exactly what he's doing.
Well, we saw Scott
and
yesterday.
You don't think they had a conversation? They said, here's what our agenda is. We're going to need you, buddy.
I agree that Scott is involved in this decision. I agree that Scott, to me, is the top 2. I put him on top. He's top 2 for me. MVP.
Bessent.
Oh, to me,
he's been great.
I put Rubio 1. I put Bessent 2. I love
Lutnick's up there.
I'm with you right there, Bob.
No, I would put those 2 there. Of course, it's going to be different for Chris, for you. But what do you think about this? What do you think about this choice?
President gets what he wants, and he's just more obvious about making it that way. That I want the guy to agree with me. You know, usually presidents don't say it that way. Why? They want the patina of objectivity. That this person's going to go in there and do what's good based on the data and the commission, not just my politics. This president is different. He wants a yes man, and he's got one.
Well, can I ask you a question? Let's say you're the CEO, founder of Valuetainment, Bet David Consulting, Line Holdings. You created this thing, right? You put C-suite executives in place. If you're going to hire essentially your CFO, and you're going to say, this is what we stand for, this is what we do, these are the principles, and we need you aligned, are you going to go ahead and do the exact opposite of what I want you to do? What would you solve for if you were hiring this person?
That's not how this position works. That's not how this
But
position
I want to know at Valuetainment how it works.
But that's not how this position works, right? Like, who gave Amy Coney Barrett the position?
Trump.
Is she a pro-Trumper? No,
she's a conservative.
She's not a pro-Trumper. She's not. And by the way, let me tell you, one out of all the things I talk about with Rand Paul, and we talk about a lot of different things, non-interventionist, Rubio, you know, all this stuff. The one thing that stuck out with Rand Paul, which, by the way, is going to be launching, I don't know when we're going to launch it, phenomenal conversation, is why does the president keep talking about Supreme Court not supporting the tariffs? I said, what do you think is going to happen with the tariffs? He says, I actually think they're going to rule against him.
Jeez. And
I think he's going to lose the ability to use tariffs without going through Congress, then through Senate. So I think if Supreme Court does the right thing, he's not, all the stuff that he's been doing with tariffs is going to be gone.
Crazy.
That's Rand Paul saying this. Rand Paul saying this. What's the point and why? Who do you think on there's not going to be on his side? If you were willing to bet which one of the Supreme Court justices is going to be against Trump, that's a conservative, who is that? Her.
Of course.
Of course she's going to be on that list. So to me, I don't think this is a job. Like, you know how we would defend Jerome Powell, even though Jerome Powell was appointed by him? We're like, I actually don't mind what he's doing. Like, you know, pump the brakes before. Lower. Pump the brakes.
Independence of the Fed.
Pump. And by the way, this is the first time in the economy where you're actually able to see the knob, like gold went to 55, finally makes sense why it went to 55. Dollar devalue a little bit. Bitcoin's not moving. You're finally able to be a little bit more using predictive analytics, because the part of that I give credit to Jerome Powell. I give credit to Jerome for not all of a sudden saying, let me listen to this. And I think this guy's going to do the same. I think 12 months later, he's going to do the same.
You don't think he's going to be aligned with Trump?
No, I don't think after 12 months he's not going to be.
You don't think they had those conversations?
I don't think these jobs you hire works that way.
Well, this one, he's right? Because it's the guy's in there for a long time.
Yeah, I don't think these jobs work that way.
Were there
I don't.
4-year terms, I believe?
Yeah, I don't think these jobs. I think this, to me, is the same kind of a hire as Supreme Court. You don't get to hire a Supreme Court and tell them you better do this. It's not how the system works. That's why it works, by the way. That's why it works. So, yes, great. I think for me, this announcement being made was a little bit of a bigger announcement. I think there's a lot of noise. There's a game coming up called Super Bowl, right? And Seattle is going up against
New England
Patriots. And it's so funny because we can go through a whole different conversation with New England, with Bill Belichick. maybe we'll do that all the way at the end because I'm sure we all have some opinions on Bill Belichick not making it into the Hall of Fame. Tom Brady said, if I have to come back and play with only one coach, I'm not picking anybody else but Bill Belichick. And the guy didn't make it, and 3 other coaches were first ballot Hall of Famers, but this guy didn't. But anyways, Patriots, Seattle Seahawks, while this is happening, you're watching it, and if you believe future looks bright, you may want to wear this gear that we're launching here today. Go ahead, Rob.
It starts with what you wear. Not just style, identity.
I like that you went with the British guy.
Built with precision.
Spinning.
From the curve of the brim to the weight of the fabric. Every detail matters because this isn't just apparel. It's confidence you put on, pride you represent, a statement without saying a word, where performance
You guys
meets
have your own
legacy.
flag football team?
This is more than gear. This is who we are.
All right, go to VTmerch.com,
okay,
folks.
Mano.
Good for Mono. Looking good.
Panda.
Go to VTmerch.com, place your order. Future looks bright. And by the way, Mono right there used to play for the Chiefs. He's now here running VT Sports with Danny Cannell. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.